What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another edition of the Tuffy Talk live show, y'all. We are so excited. We are so ready, y'all. It is now past July 4th, which means we are incredibly close to the start of the NC State football season, y'all. We are counting down the days. Sorry we ran over a little bit as we literally just got done interviewing a former member of the NC State men's basketball team, y'all. So make sure to check it out. Greg has got the countdown for us. Greg, what are we at right now? What is that, 52 days?
51 days, 22 hours, and 51 minutes.
Not the music.
With the music on the countdown. So there you go.
I love it. I love it. And it was just close enough so that way fans could hear that you were listening to music, but not close enough where we get copyrighted. So appreciate that, Greg. You're the man.
Thank you, YouTube. You ain't censoring us tonight.
No shot. But anyway, though, y'all. So again, so sorry we ran a little bit over. Again, we're filming some awesome content that you are going to love for sure. Can't wait to get it out there.
That's in the eye of the beholder, but we think it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Y'all will love it. I promise.
I got bullied for about 45 minutes of it,
which is why it's so good. So
that's right.
That's why it's good. That's why it's good.
That one reason.
Never mind the awesome guest that we had.
That's right.
No, he was in on it too.
Me.
You deserved it. You were late.
I was 2 minutes late. Late was
right.
5.
That's true. I know.
Making Michael, how we doing? Let's move on.
I wasn't even there, so what can I say? So
great. I have no idea who you're talking about.
That's
right.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to. Me and Mike are both gonna have to just wait and see.
Yeah,
right, there's 2 views, so hopefully we can get a few more.
Well. I mean, we got Michelle here in the chat with us already, and appreciate her as always. So I'm sure we could put her down for a view. So that's 3.
My mom
Michelle
might watch.
That's right.
My Nana will.
Yeah. But Michelle saying, good Marvelous Monday, Wolfpack Nation, heading home from Pilates as you always do. Michelle, you definitely stick to that Pilates schedule on Monday evening. So shout out to you there.
Brunswick stew.
With Brunswick stew for supper.
2 hot stew.
Smithfield's Brunswick stew.
That stuff slaps.
You haven't had my Brunswick stew, so maybe challenge accepted.
Yeah. Cooper talking about the new college football video game. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Don't you worry. We'll get to that here in 1 second.
I'm not even a video game guy, and I think I might have to get it. So
I know, but then I have to buy a PlayStation 5. So
I know.
I don't even have a console.
Dude, I'm telling you that's yeah. See, and again, we'll talk about that here in 1 second. We'll get to that here, but so. Real quick, y'all. So again, any comments, questions, thoughts, concerns, make sure to get them in the chat, y'all. And we will get to all of them here today, y'all. Again, we're just going to be discussing all things NC State specifically. A lot of it's going to be around the hot start Dave Doeren has been on for sure. But with that being said, before we get to that, I wanted to bring up specifically one clip that made its way around the good old internet recently, which I think for a lot of UNC fans was like why are you doing this? Like, you're letting the cat out of the bag. Like, it's not supposed to be like this. But for NC State, it's a head nod being like, yep, we knew it. We knew it the whole time.
Before play this, though, Michael has to be the first one to chime in on this because he was going toe to toe with some people. Like, yes, I really want to hear Michael's thoughts.
We're always the ones that Carolina fans just love our pages.
I know, I get bored sometimes.
I really do.
I get bored funny. Sometimes.
I get the trolls. You get the people that just want to instigate. So between us, we got them all. We got all live them rent free in our minds.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, though, so do a little bit of background to this. So this was on Armando Bacot, former NC State. I'm sorry, former UNC. Oh God, former UNC.
Mute that guy's mic now.
Former UNC men's basketball player Armando Bacot joined
DJ
Burns' son, basically.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, DJ Burns' son. Yes, he joined Theo Pinson, former UNC men's basketball players podcast, and had this to say on the NC State Final Four run. So play it.
Yeah, I can't stand NC State.
Bro, I hate them.
They just, bro, you know how sick I would have been if they won it this year.
Oh my gosh, I wanted Duke to win. I wanted Duke to go to the Final Four.
That's right.
I didn't want NC State to go to the Final Four because Duke going to the Final Four, I knew
they were good enough.
They were good enough, and Duke, maybe if they beat Purdue, fine. They won't beat UConn, and it's that would it'll be remembered at Duke for maybe 2 to 3 years, and then after that, they didn't win it all. So be it. But like NC State, like they never gonna let this go.
They not gonna
They
let
beat
it go.
us in the
Correct.
championship. Then they beat Duke in the Elite Eight. And I blame Duke too, because Duke shouldn't have lost to them in the ACC
Terrible
tournament.
microphone etiquette.
That's where it all
What the
started.
fuck were they doing?
I don't know. And then like you know how I go in March when the team get hot, they hard to beat.
They
Then
hard to beat. They was cooking with fish grease.
hats off to that. I mean, even for me, I mean, I was like,
That's a good
you
one,
look at
though.
all the other games versus Burns, like we go at it like da, but like he just had confidence that game. Like that last, it was a long night.
Nothing you can do, bro.
He wore you out, son. He wore you out.
It was a long night for me.
He's
I ain't
your
gonna lie.
dad.
Shout out to DJ Burns.
For sure.
Yeah, shout out to DJ. Now he a killer for sure.
He a killer.
Michael.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah, I appreciate him shouting out DJ Burns there because I mean he couldn't do anything.
He should.
But yeah, the first part of that, when you've got my point was watching that you've got your two rivals playing against each other, and
You have a choice there.
yeah, like that clearly shows who you have in the pecking order of who's the bigger rival, especially when you consider if Duke won the national championship this year, they went to the Final Four and won the national championship, that would have tied UNC for 6 national championships. So, I mean, he still rooted for them to win. So,
Yeah.
And
I think that's all that needs to be said.
Well, and here's my thing. You don't know, like, UConn would have automatically beat Duke. You just don't know. I mean, they played the games for a reason. I mean, if that were the case, we wouldn't have won in 83.
We would have made it out of Tuesday at the ACC tournament.
Right. So I get it. And to your point, Michael, why would you want even Duke to even be in that position to begin with? Like you don't even want them there. So for me, I'm with you. If we're not your rival, why are you even talking about us? You know, you're just like, whatever. So,
you know who I don't care if they win and they make the Final Four? Like Fresno State.
Right.
Yeah. Which, by the way, too, y'all, if it hasn't been clear already, this is basically one big segment of.
You know what really grinds my gears?
That's basically what this is. So,
His presence grinds my gears at this point.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, like it to me, it was just, you know, I'm not really going to say much about it besides just the fact that, like, yeah, it's what we all state fans knew, which is in the back of all UNC fans' minds. They actually don't like us just as much. They don't like Duke, but in a different fashion. You know, they feel like that we are insignificant to them. But I mean, again, whether it's okay, you know, football, what you're gonna say, you know, pretty much every single sport, you know, like we're right there toe to toe with you. And now that one thing that you thought you could hold above us among all else, I mean, you can't really say that it's that much of a discrepancy like it used to be, you know, because now we have that title, now we have that Final Four run, you know, to say, you know, so to take a few of those huge bullets that the UNC fans always had in their chamber ready to shoot at any one time, we took those 2 bullets out, so now you're kind of shooting a few blanks, you know.
I mean, I just love how we finally have a comeback. Like their comeback is how many national championships have you won? Now, whenever they say y'all aren't a rival to us, we can just be like, well, that's not what Armando said. And like now we finally have a comeback to that.
Roy Williams. I mean, Roy Williams out of state.
We obviously are in your mind
rival.
even this long after the tournament. So
yeah,
I mean,
for me, Theo Pinson talks so much about NC State for not being a rival. Like he brings this up so many times on this podcast, and I'll be honest, the only time I see this podcast is when it makes something kind of viral on Twitter. So I don't even watch it that much, but I mean, this is probably at least the half dozen time that he's brought us up into a conversation where it didn't even matter. And then you for not being a rivals, you know, State has basically owned them in football. What is it, 11 of the last 15, I believe it is. And then the comeback is, well, we've won 30 some more games than you have in football.
Yeah,
that was during the leather football helmet days.
Exactly. Like let that go. Back in World War II don't count. We're talking about this decade. Like,
not only that, like we were literally just scraping the barrel for football players back in the day. Like if you go back and read the history of it, it's not even funny. And they basically had cornered the market on football players. So we were really rolling out with the bare minimum. And I get it. They won, big deal. But to the point, it's like, let's come to the modern era. Like since the ACC has been established, it's a completely different level. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which, and actually, so Northwell brings up this thing saying that UNC and Duke are both like-minded schools and fan bases, wine and cheese elites. But I mean, here's my thing though, is like when I think about Duke, I don't know if I necessarily think wine and cheese like I do UNC.
No, they're definitely wine and cheese, but not the typical wine and cheese audience.
Right.
Like they're definitely to the point. They're elites, right? They think. Here's the other thing. Most people from North Carolina don't go to Duke. Like that's the wild thing. Like they recruit heavily from an academic standpoint outside of the state of North Carolina. Like they bring them in all over, especially like their MBA programs and their post graduate degrees. Most of those folks are not from the state of North Carolina. So to me, I don't really even care about Duke because they don't really have a fan base. I mean, other than basketball, and that's just a national brand. It's just a national brand. That's all it is.
Well, and that's my thing too. And yeah, well, exactly. And I want to kind of bringing you on this. Like, if I were a Duke fan, would you not agree that the last 2 years have been arguably the worst case scenarios with UNC beating Coach K in the final game of at Duke and period. And then this year, State beats Duke in the ACC tournament and in the Elite Eight to go to the Final Four. It's like right now, if you're Duke, you're sitting there like, I mean, all I have is, I have this one ACC championship. I mean, like Filipowski, who was like a lottery pick, he went in the early second round, and
the only thing I would say is that Duke did win the ACC championship last year, so we're gonna hang our hat on that. But it's not playing in a national championship. It's not that Final Four game losing. Like they have bragging rights forever against you now. So Duke. I don't know. Duke has more of a better NBA pedigree right now, I would say, than UNC does. But I don't really know, man. I mean, both coaches have done. I come back to think like, what is Kevin Keats now? Why does he have to? He doesn't have to cower to either of those two guys now because he's like, you went to a Final Four, you did a good national championship game, fair. You won an ACC tournament. You've been to an Elite Eight. Okay, it's nice.
He's got more ACC championships than
championship. Right.
Keats' resume is better than both of them.
That's my point. Like I'm just saying, like those things are not. You got nice things. Duke's got nice things. Or Hubert Davis, you got nice things. Shire, you got nice things. That's fine.
Yeah.
The only argument though, here's the counter that Duke and Carolina is going to go. Well, Keats has been there, a lot longer than Davis and Shire. Like that's going to be the argument.
What happens when they don't win an AC title in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years?
I totally get
Shire's
it.
got the ACC title, but no Final Four. Hubert Davis has a Final Four, but no ACC title. So Keats has both of them.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like I don't know. I don't think Duke has. I just think that whole perspective. I think someone said they're saying the quiet part out loud. Like, they legitimately hate state fans, and everybody. I've only told like a couple people that. Hey, did you guys see that clip? Whatever, and they're like, that as the way it should be, right? That's usually the comment it should be like, and that's good.
And it's okay to have a rivalry. Like that's okay.
And we hate it.
Just admit it.
Like
it's not different. It's different. Like we said, I think Greg, you were saying, or somebody was saying at the beginning that the rivalry, the UNC Duke rivalry, is a very different type of rivalry than State UNC.
Now, do you think
State UNC is more of your classic rivalry? UNC Duke is
really only rivals in basketball. They're only really rivals.
I almost wonder would you guys say the same thing if somebody like, I'm going to throw it out there, and I think it's even worse because they're not a powerhouse. It's like someone like ECU did it. Like, I think they view it as we hate NC State. And like UNC fans want to say, we don't care about State, and we don't care about ECU. So like if ECU somehow, it's not apples to apples, but like I wouldn't be thinking, oh, UNC and ECU are playing, I'm going to want UNC to win. Heck no, I'm not picking that. And so it's like, if they really think they're that big of rivals, like, well, I don't know why you would pick Duke to win. Like, if you really hate them, you say that you do, there's no way in this earth that you would be picking Duke to win the game. I don't know.
for me, to your point, Macon, I don't really see the reason I don't see ECU as a rival. We don't play each other every year, especially in football. Yeah. But to your point, though, you're right. ECU does consider us a rival more than we consider them a rival.
In a certain sport, right? Too. They play football or whatever. So, like, say they went to
baseball. I think there's more of a rivalry in baseball.
The rivalry where it is.
Yeah.
But I would not be picking ECU. I'd rather UNC win than ECU. I would pick ECU to win.
Yeah,
I personally would. I'm not picking UNC to win. So
yeah, no, there's no way I'm picking UNC to win.
But it's a group of 5, right? Versus compared to Power 5 thing. Yeah. So and it's the same conference, not the same. But it's just like trying to think what would be closest to it. It may be for us. And it's like, I would never not pick UNC. So or never not say I don't want UNC to win. Excuse me. So
I honestly like. And we've had this conversation before, and we can probably move on pretty quickly. I don't care if Duke wins. I honestly don't. There's no skin underneath my bones that can give a crap. I know you feel differently. I know you do, Macon. And we've had this conversation. I know you do.
Yeah.
But I still think like if you so real quick, Macon, and maybe I don't remember this part of the conversation. You would still take Duke to win before you took UNC to win. Is that a correct statement?
All right. Let me
this shouldn't even hold on.
I am not picking UNC. Let me put it that way. I'm not doing it.
Exactly. Never.
Let me put it that way.
Right. The
way I would describe it is like the scum of the earth, like from a team, a sports standpoint. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the athletics. If like the last layer of soil would be UNC, the layer above that would be Duke. Everybody else it's fine. Like when they play each other, I want the lights to go out. I wish there was we can't play the game.
You basically want the soil where UNC and Duke to be inhabitable. You can't grow any soybeans.
I want neither to win anything. That's kind of the way I'm at about it, right? And it's like it's different reasons why. And I think that might be an interesting topic because
I get where you're going, but
the arrogance I get from UNC is different from the arrogance I get from Duke. That would be an interesting conversation, but probably more of a private conversation.
You do not want to go on the record, is what you're saying.
No, but I'm not picking UNC is the way I would put it.
So real quick, I want to throw this question out to everybody because there was someone up here that I hear more from ECU Wake fans than Duke. Is that the same for everyone? Because I never see any Duke fans on Twitter. Like, do you guys like?
I know maybe it's my algorithm. Duke fans. I know vice versa. Like,
when they,
I just don't get that. My mind is like does not.
No. What I'm saying is like the interactions of Duke fans on Twitter and stuff like that, social media. I
only hear
see Duke social media
Wake fans. Easy,
right?
And I will say I have a in my leadership at work, I have a representative guy who is a VP who is a Duke fan, and he's a big Duke fan, but he's very polite about it, but he'll talk and have fun with it too. So, but I don't
Duke,
hear.
Or is he just a fan?
His daughter played at Duke, so she actually was an athlete. We'll allow it. So he's a legit Duke fan. But yeah, I don't know a lot of Duke fans. I don't hear about them on social media. I just know people who are fans of Duke, and that's
See, Macon, you can learn a thing or two here from Michelle.
Michelle's saying I'll pull for Duke anytime.
I can't see that first part of that sentence. You will pull for Duke anytime is like it's like another language. I'm not pulling for Duke either.
I really only time
I'm not pulling for Duke
against UNC.
Now if it's football, I'll pull for Duke. I don't even care.
Now you're just contradicting. But move on to the next one.
We talked about Shire, Hubert Davis, and Keith. We're talking about basketball for the most part here. I am not pulling for their basketball.
Well, is it Duke?
Here's why it is, but it's to a lesser degree in a sport where they generally stink, right? Like they're not.
Unless you're talking fencing or lacrosse.
Yeah, if it's like Duke lacrosse, I'm not pulling for Duke. Or like you're, I don't know anything else that'd be a Duke sport. Baseball, I'm not pulling for Duke. But like they're terrible in football, and it's like okay, if they get one win every 20 years, like
chill out, Greg.
Right? Well, that's how much do you think I hated that? I was like, you gotta be.
No, I feel you, brother. I feel you.
All right. Michael, do you want one more comment, man, before we wrap this topic up? Move to tweets of the week.
They're laughing at my logic here. Is what it is, guys.
Yeah, no.
There is no logic. That's the problem.
No, I'm good. I think we. I don't even know.
Right.
I could go on, but yeah.
And another thing.
Let's wrap it up. Yeah, if we're gonna wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
You're right. We can be here another half hour.
Norfolk saying, and yet Duke somehow has 157,000 followers on their official.
On this, the last conversation when I was in high school. I won't say one or the other, but like I was asking my dad just out of curiosity,
what does
like,
state have? I'm curious.
I asked like, why do we vote the way we vote? I was just why do you vote the way you vote out of curiosity? And he started talking and sharing his thoughts, and it was in like 15 minutes, and he was like I'm just getting real amped up about it. That's why I about this conversation. The more we talk about it, the more amped up I'm getting. So
yeah, let's call making down.
So for reference, NC State has 203,000 followers for football. So if anyone was curious.
There we go. All right.
Okay. No, I was just perspective.
Yeah, no, that's good, Greg. So for me, I'm gonna end this by making it actually very simple with using Macon's soil reference. So for me, it's UNC at the bottom, Duke, ECU, Wake Forest, App State. That's my layers. So
let's see. Would you even pick
Ogres have layers?
It's gotten to the point where App State is right down there with ECU because I'm really tired of hearing App State fans say this is our state when they're in the freaking Sun Belt,
or that we're ducking them, or blah blah.
Yeah,
we literally are playing them in 2026.
They're really
who's the guy? Who's the famous country artist who from
Luke
App State?
Combs.
Yeah, he's like, they don't want this.
Well, Eric Church too.
He had to say that stuff.
Well, Eric Church is a Carolina fan, a Tennessee fan.
Greg.
He's a Carolina fan. He ain't no App State fan.
Well, Luke Combs is a Carolina fan too. That's what I'm saying. Like they both went to App State, but they're not really fans of.
Well, I would not call Eric Church an App State fan for sure.
No, but he went there, so I mean, rep your school.
Layton's like, I can't. We just
stealing everyone's mics.
That's good. And you're still bringing up another tweet about it.
That's right.
And another thing.
Part two.
We're done.
Y'all. Tweet of the week. Got to give a shout out to Pack Chat saying rivalry deniers seeing this, aka talking about the Armando Bacot comments, and it's again, if you listen to this, that's great and all, but definitely seeing it, because there's no way I can just describe what we're seeing here necessarily.
I will add one thing here. It kind of goes into the portfolio of Roy Williams. Said he hated playing. He hated State, right?
Yeah. No, Roy Williams definitely.
UNC legend. I would say Bacot and Theo Pinson are probably two of the fan favorites for UNC in the last decade or so, maybe more than that, 2 decades.
I'm just waiting.
And they're saying that. So
that.
You said what?
I'm waiting for the next ACC legend, Tiger Woods, to say he hates NC State. So,
hey,
that's Christian McCaffrey, actually.
Yeah, there you go, Christian McCaffrey.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers.
But can I make a comment about this?
Marshawn Lynch.
About that tweet, like that, they didn't even care that they just left the stupid Getty image logo on it. They just like, you know what?
Well, yeah,
those are my kind of people here at NC State. So.
The heck with your watermark.
That's right. But yeah, no, and Adam Richard, don't worry, we'll talk more football here in 1 second. But before we do that, gotta give a shout out to 2 future NC State or
power
will be
couples.
NC State Pack pros, NC State power couples, and AMAC and Payton Wilson both getting engaged over the last week, actually, even the last couple of days, actually, with AMAC proposing to his fiance on the NC State field, and then Payton Wilson, don't know where he was, but looks like near the beach, and good for him. And so again, super excited for both of them for sure. Now, I don't know, man. Like it's to me, like it means so much more. I feel like to the story of AMAC, the fact that just to kind of bury that knife a little bit deeper, where the fact that he actually proposed to his future wife on the NC State baseball field. Oh, that's right. Yeah, thank you, Greg. Brooke, on the NC State baseball field. Like that's just goes again, just to even dig that knife a little bit further. Be like, he is 100% NC State, man. He is a wolf inside and out. There's no doubt about it. And here's another exact reason and evidence piece for it.
Can I give a little context too for Brooke and AMAC? So
Please.
just for clarity too, Brooke and her whole family are ECU fans. So for that to happen because her family and them live in Greenville, and so for that to happen on the NC State Diamond, to your point, Leighton, just you know, just a little bit further for how much just 1 year can affect someone's life, then just kind of just change it, and you know, it's a big thing, and I think this year, you know, just getting engaged on the baseball field, I think is just the consummate just exclamation point because of everything that he went through and that they went through as a couple, and the way, you know, we've kind of documented a little bit with AMAC being treated the way he was at ECU, and that's just really cool. That's just really awesome.
Yeah. Ken's being the one person here who isn't married yet. What would you?
I don't even have. Okay,
it'll happen. It'll happen soon, Ken's.
I don't know where this is going.
Where would you want to get engaged at NC State? Would you want to be? Would you be okay with the football field engagement?
Actually, I like that question. That's actually a really good question.
I've said this since I was in middle school, like seeing people on the Jumbotron and stuff, like I want to get proposed to on NC State's football field or the Jumbotron at PNC Arena. Like I've told everybody this, which is why I can't date a Carolina fan, and that's all that's in North Carolina. Like I just won't do it. So yeah.
Well, not a lot of guys who are Carolina, so you don't have to worry.
Well, yeah, they're not real men. So you need to find you a not a rivalry, huh? Bring it.
I've said that since middle school. Like all my friends can vouch for me. They think it's stupid because they're like, that's the dumbest way to get proposed to. But I'm like, that would literally be perfect for me. Like during a game, but we have to be winning. If you have it planned out and we're losing, wait till next week. Like I don't want that to happen.
Well, I got to pay another $50 to get up on the Jumbotron. So
right, exactly.
Let's go.
And first of all, too, I love how Greg, Michael, and Macon, as I was asking the question, was like already like making assumptions of where this was about to go. I was like, no, this is a good question.
Tread lightly, my friend. Tread lightly.
No.
I'm not even going to figure out it.
No. So anyway, y'all, again, hey, anybody's, you know, there you go. There's Ken's ready to rock and roll.
Ready to rock and roll, everybody. Ready to rock and roll. Hey, if you want to change a segment with right now, like you did earlier, I would be doing it right now.
Hey,
well, first they have to get
help my girl kids out. That's all.
They have to get my approval first before they.
Honestly,
I'm
gonna need whoever proposes to her to come talk to me first, so we can get it right. So.
There we go.
Yeah, Greg's my stand-in dad.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, y'all. So we talked a little bit earlier about
how do we get blown out in this game? By the way.
Yeah. Okay. So let me give the context.
57. Holy cow.
So
what kind of simulation is this?
So as everybody knows, EA Sports College Football, the game is coming out next week. I think it's the 14th, right? Anybody?
Yeah, unless you like
16th.
16th.
Or you get
Michael's guy. If you got the early release.
Yeah.
See?
16th if you got the early release.
Michael's already got his vacation lined up for work. Yeah. He's already got his snacks. He's already got it ready to go. So anyway,
I can see Michael like this.
That's right.
It's like the only video game I play.
Yep. I feel you there. I still have mine too. NCAA Football 14, still got it.
Yep.
But basically, EA Sports College Football came out with like a dynasty mode kind of teaser, and so they basically played out a season, just kind of show off the functionality capabilities behind it, and they literally did a simulation, and they had NC State as the #1 overall seed in the college football playoff, like not Georgia. Not Bama, not Ohio State, literally NC State, the #1 overall seed. And they had Michigan and Texas A&M play as the 8 or 9 seed, and Texas A&M won 38-30. And then they played us, and they won 57-17. I mean, first of all,
Leighton, what would you call that?
An ass whooping?
No, a donkey stomp. Come on, bro. I set it up for you perfectly.
A donkey, yeah, donkey stomp.
I haven't had one of those in a while.
First of all, I mean, again, there's I mean, Tony Gibson's defense isn't giving up 57 points. I don't care who it is. It could be Georgia for all I care. Tony Gibson's defense is not giving up 57 points.
No way.
Yo, what made this
so
lost
good? The 9 seed. It's like if they're literally the best in the country, they lost by 40 to the 9 seed. Holy cow! And
right.
And okay, what's crazier, that or the fact that Rice is the 12th.
Yeah, Rice.
Where did that come from? Holy cow!
Wow. I would have loved Tony Gibson to like
this?
retweet this, be like, yeah, this isn't happening. Like
bulletin board material.
Take bulletin board material
versus
we got blown with Texas A&M in a video game.
You see what EA thinks of you boys? Let's go out there and pick their
How many people you think actually went out and put a little bit of money on Rice and Utah and Miami to make the college football playoff?
No, Utah's
good.
Utah'll be good.
Yeah, I know, but still, I mean,
a little bit of a stretch here.
Yeah, but Rice, I mean, dang.
Well,
that's because of the group of 5 thing. The highest group of 5 thing gets a.
And Cooper Mill saying it best. Tony Gibson did retweet that. That's right. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Tony Gibson did retweet it. Thanks, Cooper. I missed that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I love that.
So,
he retweeted the one where when they said did the top 25 defenses.
Oh yeah, when Carolina
wasn't on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
How did we didn't talk about this last week because we had other things that we tweeted about because it came out like the week before. But what do you guys think about the offensive and defensive rankings? Like
that was fair.
I was listening.
Defense.
Yeah.
Well, there's just no way the defensive was correct because our offense was only an 87 and then our overall rank was an 87. So there's no way our defense was worse than an 83 because that would mean our overall would be lower.
There's no way UNC's a top 25 defense and we're not.
Consideration too in that number.
Yeah, but
I mean we could be at 90, right? I'm just throwing it out there.
But that's still they shouldn't weight it special teams that much.
The hat on the pin is there's no way UNC is a top 25 defense and we are not. Period. Plain simple.
Yeah, I would have been. If you would have told me one of our units could have been top 25, as much as we've added to the offensive side, I still think I would lean defense would be the top 25.
Yeah, I think it was just
though you could say there's as many unknowns on the offensive side as there is the defensive side, but historically over the last 5 to 6 years, we've been strongest on the defensive side.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, but got to give a shout out to, speaking of football here, is to Anthony Belton, who in the early rankings is actually put as a number 3 offensive tackle overall, actually going in the late first rounds of the 2025 NFL draft mocks. Now, again, I mean, it's a mock draft. It's obviously we're 10 months away from that happening. A lot's going to change for sure, but it's just awesome to see Anthony Belton being in the talks of being one of the top offensive tackles in the country. It's awesome to see. So just add another feather to the hat for Coach Doeren. Go ahead, Greg. What were you saying?
I saw AB at the baseball regionals when we played South Carolina, and I walked past him and he's like, "Hey, how you doing, Greg?" And I'm like, "I'm good, AB." And every time I see that man, that is a mountain of a man. He is just a large human
but he's
being.
He's like a giant teddy bear.
Oh yeah,
I love
nice
AB.
Guy.
He's the sweetest person.
Such a nice guy. Yeah. And then Jordan Poole was like, "Hey, I'm Jordan Poole. I know you. I know Jordan. I know you." They were all, but it was just great to see all the football guys at baseball and these units just continue to support each other. But I think this is going to be his year to really break. People are sleeping on this offensive line. I'm telling you, man.
Oh, totally, 100%. No, 100%.
Can't wait till we start doing our breakouts.
Yeah, no, and we're definitely gonna be we're definitely heading towards that content here very, very soon, y'all. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Macon, I want to kind of ask you about this next one though. Is the WOLFPACKER, I guess, on 3 came out with their top 10 non-conference games of the 2024 season, and once again, NC State in this list is put us number 8 overall.
Hold on, breaking news! Breaking news!
What's that?
Just saying.
Oh boy!
Hey, there we go, kids. We got you.
We got you. We'll talk later, Kyle. We'll talk later. DM me. I got you.
Okay, can we stop?
This is the content people have come here for.
Okay.
I'm loving myself right now. I'm not.
There you go.
I don't. Men irritate me. So.
Gag.
You're on a podcast of 4 of them. Congratulations.
She's not ready to rock and roll, apparently. So
she's more of the country western, both types of music.
I'm in a relationship with NC State right now. So
so your status is complicated.
So, yeah, exactly.
Your Facebook is that complicated. Anyway, jump back in. So yeah, Megan. So NC State, Tennessee put us in number 8. overall non-conference game for the 2024 season. So, I mean, this is kind of a little bit of a, I guess a preview thing, teaser, but I mean, it really does seem like that Tennessee game can be a huge needle one way or the other, not only just for the season, but for maybe the football program in general. Being like, if you can get a win over Tennessee, like I just feel like that would be just a huge boost for the entire program for the next few years, in my opinion.
That's going to be something where obviously it's the number one on our schedule, but they're probably, I mean, like I've seen some things where they had post spring rankings and midsummer rankings for these teams, and they have NC State's like a top 15 team. So you're going to have probably, State's not losing to Western Carolina, and Tennessee, I don't know who they play week 1. So it's going to probably be a top 20 matchup for sure, that game. And I was looking, there's not really anything else going on that weekend from like a non-conference standpoint. I can try to look at games. I did look at this last week, but there's not really a whole lot going on. So I will tell you, that's probably going to be my bet. That's probably going to be the College Game Day game, because the only other game that I would say would be a more like no-brainer is on Fox. They might have a game day there.
Texas, Michigan will be big noon kickoff. Yeah.
Right. But they can't do that. So it's probably going to be NC State, Tennessee. I'm trying to look back here, and I'll let you know if I can find anything else that's going to be more interesting. There was one other game, if I'm not mistaken, like Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech. That's nothing. Iowa State.
What? That's maybe a barn burner.
Yeah. But am I looking at the right one?
I mean, they already announced that it's a 7:30 game on ABC. So, like,
yeah.
I mean,
that screams it.
Yeah.
By the way, just for context, Chattanooga plays Tennessee, so they're probably going to be 1-0 as well.
Yep. There you go. Yep. So I mean, definitely. But again, y'all, I'm still. I don't know. Like, I just want so bad NC State to host College Game Day once, please. Like, just one time.
Well, we did
here in the near future. Well, no, okay, yes, like 20 years ago. Thank you. Mike, what were we gonna say?
Charlotte plays at UNC, so they're probably going there.
Well, and hold on, y'all. and for a limited time only, y'all, you can buy a ticket to the UNC Charlotte football game for $17.76, y'all. So
hashtag America.
Screams College Game Day.
Hashtag America. And that also screams a football program that has a lot of excitement behind it.
Yeah.
Golly, what an eye roll. Like, seriously.
Dude, has anybody else heard anything out of the quarterback situation there? Just like, I feel like the whole talk is like, we're not saying anything.
Mac won't open the doors.
And one thing I heard is that the Arkansas quarterback apparently is not practicing right now because of a credit issue, that they weren't able to transfer a credit over from Arkansas to UNC properly. So he's in summer school right now. But that's the only thing I've heard about the quarterback situation, which is not a good thing if that's the only thing I'm hearing about the UNC quarterback situation. So
got the Jordan Love treatment, huh?
That's I mean, maybe, I don't know, but either way, y'all. So again, definitely excited for the season. We'll definitely be getting into a lot. Yeah. Greg's mocking Kens right now.
Sorry.
Might need a little more energy, Kens.
Yeah, we need a little bit more hype.
Yeah, here's the other game. The only other game I think I would notice is like Arkansas at Oklahoma State. Like that week too. I really think Tennessee game is going to be game day.
It's basically us or Michigan, basically, is what you're saying, Macon.
Yeah, unless they go and have the Fox studio and the College Game Day studio on the same campus, which is
they have done that before.
They could.
They don't usually, yeah.
Or unless they do it, App State versus Troy. Why? What the heck was that? Anyway, let's jump into what everybody really wants to talk about. I know what Megan wants to talk about for sure, which is that NC State football recruiting, y'all, is absolutely in fuego. It is rocking and rolling for sure.
That doesn't speak Spanish.
Yes, it is red hot right now.
We need like closed captioning whenever we say different language.
On fire, I think, is technically the exact.
That is a true statement. You living down in Florida with all the Spanish
my intramural team name would be always be Fuego de Pollo, like fried chickens. That was mine.
I was thinking the El Lemos, but okay.
Oh wow! It would actually hurt my feelings if I actually cared about what he was saying. No, this is going to be Mekhi Williams-Lee, probably defensive tackle for State. Some good offers for him out of I think he's out of Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's the one from Atlanta area.
Atlanta.
So good pickup for him for Cincy State there, getting a guy they really wanted. I know that they were saying that defensive line coach Charlie Wiles was really going after him hard. And then what's interesting to me too is this other commitment of Reinhardt. They already taken a commitment from Boyd at the running back position, and Boyd is a lower ranked running back than Reinhardt. Reinhardt is a 3-star on some sites, a 4-star on some others, but they don't necessarily need a ton of running back depth right now because they've got a lot of it out of the transfer portal. And the fact that they wanted to take and they chose to take 2 guys like this tells me they really think highly of Boyd and Kentrell Reinhardt. So I think it's a great, pickup. If again, I come back to it, the staff really wants them. I want them. This is a higher ranked guy. He's got good size on him, but he probably could add some people said he might be 220 already. Some people said he might be down as low as 205. So, but he'll get in there with Thunder Dan and it'll be fine. And you won't have to see either one of these running backs in the next year or two. And you never know with the transfer portal. But really good pickups for State. They're not done. But they've had like a really good last 2-3 weeks. And coming up all of these official visits that happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago, this has been like boom, boom, boom. And I think both of these guys were on that official visit trip as well. So, or at least during that week they were there. So somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But this is good for NC State.
Yeah. And my biggest thing of all this too is that there's all this talk, first of all, about NC State needs to do a better job, for high school recruit. Like, we're getting too many 3-stars, not getting enough 4 or 5 stars, and blah blah blah. And it's like exactly Greg's response right there was exactly where it's like, with the transfer portal the way it is now, it like high school recruiting is all about who you want. Like, that's about go get the guys who you believe that, hey, I can develop them. They fit my culture. I can build around them. I can build them up to being, elite talents at their position. But then the transfer portal is for those positions that you need. Like, I need a backup safety. I need a kicker. I need this. Like, that's what the transfer portal is for. So at the end of the day, if you don't end up getting what you want, you can always go later and get what you need down the line.
The only other thing I think about too, I agree with you. The only thing I think about it too, Leighton, is if you can get the guys on campus, can you keep them? They're already here. If you're making them happy.
Right.
That's the other side of it. Like, it's like, I think having seen the success State has had already with the transfer portal and translating to the field, I think I would go that route. But that also tells me if State's willing to take these guys right now, they must really like these guys. And so they're taking a high school player and opting to not get the transfer portal route for a high school running back option. That's saying something to me for NC State.
I think some of that too is just the caliber of player that we've been targeting. The last 2 out of 3 years, we've been on the verge of 10 wins, and we're not bringing in those high-profile recruits out of high school necessarily. But to your point, Megan, when these guys come and get on campus, we haven't seen the mass exodus for the most part with players leaving the program. This past year really being the outlier. And a lot of that's just because of the NIL business model that we had. It was just going to force guys out because of not the automatic payment. So I think it just back to my original thought is it goes back to the culture of the people that they're bringing in, the guys that want to work and that aren't afraid to get a little dirty in order to earn their spot on this team, and that they're willing to abide their time. And then the last part is when you're actually are targeting these transfers, you're seeing this culture, and that's what's drawing these guys in to the program, because there is something being built here over the long haul, and you've seen that steady rise in performance through these teams.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also too, Michael, I mean, like, kind of 2 points to it too, is that first of all, I mean, to go to your point though, Greg, I mean, we are in the Final Four for the #1 overall player in the class of 2025 with Faison Brandon. So just saying, I mean, that's a, maybe that wouldn't have happened 4 or 5 years ago, maybe,
Well, and I think you need to break through though and start getting a couple of these, because then that builds that momentum, and then you go win an ACC championship, and that continues to build the momentum. So you look at this year, and I think, and it's easy to say this because it feels like sometimes it's just hyperbole, but I feel that this is the year that this team has to break through, because you're not going to continue to be in these conversations every year if you're not competing for championships. And I think if you look at that 2016 season, when, if Bambar hits the field goal, Clemson doesn't win a championship, do you see that trajectory go that way for them, where they build all those momentum? And if we win that game, potentially we're playing for an ACC, and our momentum, and it projects differently. So sometimes you're going to have to break through and get to that next level.
True, but I'm also saying as well that the likelihood of guys who are top 50 overall players, but also have the culture that also can fit the culture that Dave Doeren is looking for, aka not being an I-me guy, it's limited. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying, I mean, top 50 guys, a lot of them are,
But here's the thing: you can be selective at that point, right? So, that if you're interested, and you're only targeting people that are going to fit your culture. You're not going after a #1 guy in a class just because he's #1. I mean, you're going to want to make sure that he's going to fit to the pieces that you're building around him.
Yeah, which is why I really do want so badly this Faison Brandon guy, because everything that you've heard between, hearing from Terrell Anderson, his former teammate, and from hearing about Doeren and Todd, Goebel and the staff, is that Faison Brandon is a guy that would fit this culture to the T, and being an elite talent, to say the least. But
and a North Carolina guy. So
exactly. But Michael, I do want to add this other point too, which is that one of the commits that we have in Gerald Boulder, wide receiver commit, just went up the rankings to number 202 nationally, and is now a 4-star recruit. So it kind of goes to my point I've also been saying, which is that we're just also still very early in the recruiting process, where these guys still haven't even played their senior years yet. Which, I mean, a guy like Gerald Boulder, if he goes out and has 2,000, which I know is impossible, or, it's crazy to think about, but 2,000 receiving yards and
all-purpose yards,
15 touchdowns and blah, 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 has a ridiculous season, then these guys are going to go up in the rankings, which a lot of them, from what the coaching staff have seen and done, and from what the highlights say, they can 100% do it. So it's just just wait a little bit too, to really.
But you don't want them to either, because then they start drawing attention from other schools, right? So
hey, listen,
and people know State is going to be they target really good talent guys. So people watch that.
That's what I love about our coaches, is like they can see that talent way before, like they can see it in sophomores and juniors, when other schools wait till senior year. That, I feel like that's why we get a lot of these good guys, is because I've even heard guys say it, like we were their first offer, like we attacked first, we showed interest first. And I think that's huge for these coaches to be able to do that and actually jump in there and be like, hey, like, I know you're only a sophomore, junior, whatever, but we're interested, and we're going to keep communicating with you and being at your games. And I love the recruiting process behind NC State. You don't see that at a lot of schools.
Do you, I know we're talking recruiting here. Do you have the running back we got last week? Control Ryan. Yeah,
that's what we had. That's what we had on the previous one.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't see it. Sorry. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I see it now.
Right
we didn't really talk about him much, but like one of the things that he specifically mentioned was Coach, I believe it was Goebel, was hot on his recruiting, and that he basically reached out to whoever's point just made it a few minutes ago, like the relationships that are about, I think it was you, Ken, I apologize, that that he was their first offer. And that the coach, just because he offers them doesn't mean that he forgets about them. He keeps checking in on a daily basis or weekly basis, and just making sure that, everything's going well, not only as the football player, but the person and the human being. And I think that first and foremost is a big thing for these guys.
Yeah. And I personally heard that from Justin, like Jolie, that he said that at UConn, or right after he left UConn, like he knew that he was coming to a new state, the first time he's ever been this far away from home. And Dave was like right there trying to encourage him, like making sure he was good with his classes, making sure he was signed up. And it's like, he says, a lot of guys say that it's like more of a father figure type of coaching staff than anything else. And I think that's a huge say for what we have building at NC State.
I'm going to add one more other thing to that, and maybe you can transition from here, Leighton. But Reinhardt, one thing he said, and I won't say it as colorfully as he said it, but basically said, I can sniff through all of the BS that coaches give out, and State was real. And that matters. I think Doeren has, to your point, what you said, Mackenzie, what you said, Greg, the culture at State is as good as anywhere in the country. And that's not hyperbole. I think that's true because you're hearing transfers and you're hearing high school level players who are going to the bigger names, that are saying these kind of things. So different personalities per player. They have different priorities, what they're looking for, different interests. But to me, the culture we have at State is as good as anything, and it's translating in winning over these commitments from players. Like, hey, I could have gone Kentrell Reinhardt. I think he had, or I'm thinking of,
Big Big Ten and SEC. He had Iowa, Missouri. He had a lot of them. I think Minnesota was on there. He had a bunch. But real quick, back to the last point, and then you can really transition this time, Leighton. Is even you have guys that have left the program that Kens you brought up about Terrell Timmons kind of recruiting Chaz to State, and he'd already left the program. So for a player to have left the program and speak highly of it still, that says more than anything.
I got to say something else.
And another thing.
Another thing. It's like, even you don't see a lot of schools where if you get transfers, like leave your school, it's more of a, okay, like good luck to you. We're not going to see you again. Like you see these guys during breaks, like Terrell was just back practicing at the facility. It's like Dave doesn't just say, okay, you're gone. Like it's an open door for all of them, the pros, the transfers, for anybody. And I love to see that because I've seen guys that transferred 2-3 years ago that'll be practicing in the facility during breaks or during the summer. And I think that's just a really cool aspect.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
And another thing, no, I'm kidding.
I just love this football program.
Yeah. So, Michael, I think that we can both, again, this is also a little bit more of the, preview teaser as well. But, from the defensive side, I mean, defensive line wise, feeling pretty good. Defensive back wise, feeling really, really good, especially a lot of depth that we added in the transfer portal. But the one big question I think going into the season is going to be what's going to really happen with that linebacker core. Now, this week got me a little bit excited, Michael, with Elijah Gross saying he already added 18 pounds since arriving on campus. I'm sitting here like,
I didn't see that.
Coach Thunder, man, there we go, doing work already.
Coach Thunder works his magic.
Thanks for following, Macon.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not a real fan, Greg.
Not a fan.
Yeah. But Michael, I mean, Elijah Groves got to be a guy that's going to be on our list of potential breakout guys for the season.
Yeah. 100%. I think there's a couple linebackers in this freshman class that, physically, especially if Groves is put on 18 pounds or physically could be ready to play from day one.
Is that good weight? Is that bad weight? I imagine it's good weight.
I mean, he looked ready to go. Yeah. Like if you saw him, like he was cut up pretty good
18
already.
Pounds with a donut. That's a problem. I'm joking.
I put on.
Dude, I put on 18 pounds, guys.
That's the weekend.
Yeah, that could be
Tommy over here.
No, I'm assuming it is good weight. I mean, he's 6'4". He's like, if he's put on 18 pounds, he's probably already up to 220
kind of thing,
225. And then Cannon Lewis, I think he's 6'2", coming in at right around 220. So like physically, those guys could start right away, but it's just going to depend on how fast they pick it up.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. But again, so again, we'll definitely be diving a lot more into our in-state football previews here and then within the next few weeks. But definitely very, very excited to see what Elijah Groves can do, especially again being a 4-star guy we flipped from Kentucky. A guy Tony Gibson was just clawing after and finally won the war. And got him to NC State's campus. So excited to see what Tony Gibson again. And we've said it before, we said it again. If there's one thing that I will never do, that is doubt Tony Gibson as a coach.
Oh, 100%.
As a linebackers coach, as a defensive coordinator. I want. That's right. That's right. If he says Elijah Groves is the guy, then Elijah Groves is the guy. Simple as that. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple process, to be honest with you. But So, Greg, now kind of switching over a little bit of baseball here. I want to give a shout out, first of all, to Alex Sosa, who got called up, asked to join Team USA in the Summer League Tour. It was awesome to see adding, onto a already great list of Cooper Consiglio, Jacob Duden, the dude himself, and D-Rock. And now you got a hitter there in Alex Sosa. I think just goes to to me, it just excites me as NC State baseball fan being like, listen, we got 4 guys on that Team USA roster compiled of some of the best college baseball prospects, that they have to offer. It's a pretty great thing to be excited about.
Yeah. If I could just read this post real quick, I think it's pretty cool. It's from his dad, Alex's dad, Pete. He says, if my grandparents were alive today, this right here would be tears to their eyes, referring to this picture. They risked it all for a better life, and today their great-grandson proudly wears USA on his chest. God is good. Hashtag God is good. Hashtag USA. Number 28, not number 13. So if anyone doesn't know, his family came from Cuba. So this means more than the game, right? And I just think that's a really cool thing for anyone blessed enough to be able to wear the USA or represent their country in any form or fashion. So cool stuff. He got the call at night. He was actually fishing with one of his teammates up in the Cape, and they were like, yeah, we need to get you down here. And they got him a flight out at 8 a.m. and he tracked down Team USA to be able to play on the tour. So very cool stuff for Alex Sosa.
Awesome. Well, and speaking of two, I'll kind of sprinkle this piece in there as well, with Diana Schneider also getting the invite to compete in the Olympics this year as well. With a former NC State women's tennis player, and right now top 30 women's tennis player in the world, and she is officially going to be heading to the Olympics. So not only is NC State going to have a wealth of swimmers competing, but we also are going to have a women's tennis player competing too. So. It's just awesome to see. Again, as an NC State fan, how can you not love being an NC State fan? It's just another thing to add to the cap, in my opinion.
I guess we love it that she's a Pac Pro, but then she's representing Russia. So
sure,
it's like yeah, but
it's all good. Hey, that's where she's from, and hey, good for her. I'm good for that. I'm good.
We got one swimmer representing Poland, I think, too.
Yeah,
got a couple. Yeah. Carson saying best, go Wolfpack Olympians. I'm here for it. So that would be the only time I would cheer for Poland or Russia is if NC State Pac Pro is competing.
I don't know. Even though, I don't know. We'll have to talk about this offline, right? I don't know. I want to take the Macon approach. I don't know if I want to have a.
That's right.
a stance.
We'll take. No politics, Greg. This is a politics.
No politics. No, it's just country pride. I don't know if I could, even though they went to state, if I could cheer against them if they were going against a Team USA member. That's all I'm saying.
I got you there, and I'd agree there. But another big piece of news, though, with NC State baseball also landing another commit with Ole Miss freshman Trent and how you say his last name, Greg? Is it
Lions?
Okay, is how it's reads. Okay, cool.
Yep.
But it just seems like that with Avent and with Hart that they seem very dialed in terms of what they're going after with this class, which are guys that in their high school that are young, but also to have huge upside that probably just hasn't been tapped yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, AK guys that could be worth a lot and could be elite players without having to pay elite price tags is what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah, a little bit of high risk, high reward type thing.
Yes.
They're not completely established, but they came in with a lot of pedigree. A lot of these guys were top, 15, 20 at their positions. Lyons, who is shown here as a catcher, he's multi-faceted, multi-talented position. Sounds like he might be competing for an infield position, but again, he can always fall back at catcher. You have Sosa, and then you have Lamphere as well, who showed some signs throughout the season. So if nothing else, it's just a versatile depth piece where you can move him around. Potentially, he can lead off. Last time I saw, he had 17 stolen bases in the Coastal Plain League for his summer ball team. So a guy, if you can get him on base,
salamanders too. I think.
Correct. Yep, that is correct. But a guy that has a lot of potential. So it's just a matter of plugging him in and seeing what happens.
Yeah, love it. So again, I really love so far this offseason so far from Avent and Hart. And again, I think the biggest thing which we'll see, which kind of comes from this tweet right here from Wolfpack Stats, talking about what current players and what incoming players are going to do with MLB draft coming up next week. And he points out how Cozart, Eli Serrano, Dom Fritton, and Buttersworth he thinks are going to test the waters with the MLB or with the farm leagues with the incoming players like Head, Fitzgerald, and Thompson, who are incoming freshmen.
Well, Thompson is the transfer from Campbell.
Okay, gotcha.
I
appreciate that, Greg.
Head and
But yeah, Greg. So what are your thoughts here, Greg? With these guys, would you make any movements here on this?
Yeah,
list?
so likely gone. I would remove Cozart from likely gone to he is gone. He's going to be a top 25, top 30 draft pick, more than likely, no worse than probably top 40, the way he's been mocking up. And then I kind of like it in this order for Serrano, Fritton, and Butterworth. I could see it going in that order. But I could also make a case for all three of them coming back. Just Serrano. Long story short, it's going to come down to dollars. Guaranteed money is where it's going to come down to for those three, and really everybody. I think I would agree with this. Just having knowing some inside information that I don't really want to share here. There's definitely a case to be made for Serrano, Fritton, and Butterworth to be back. That I know for fact.
Cool.
If I had to lean the most likely gone out of those three, it could be Butterworth. I don't know enough about him, but knowing what I know about Serrano and Fritton, there's a chance for them to come back. And I see a path.
Yeah.
I see a path. Yeah.
And again, this goes back to our in-state baseball recap that you and I did, Greg. Yeah. For me, it's more Serrano just because of how hot he was in the postseason. He was in fuego in the offseason.
But there's things that he definitely wants to work on and get better. Here's the thing: this group, Serrano and Fritton, are unique as they're sophomore eligible draftees, so they still have another window next year where they have the leverage, because that's really what it is about baseball. If you get drafted as a senior, you have no leverage. You pretty much have to take whatever they give you and say thank you, may I have another. Whereas Serrano and Fritton, as sophomores and juniors, you can kind of dictate the dollars and the teams that you want to go to. I know for someone like potentially like Fritton, it's not only about the dollars, but then going somewhere where he could be developed as a pitcher, right? So if you go to a really good developmental team where they're really good on pitching, like the Rays would be a great example, where they put a lot of effort into their pitching staff. That could be somewhere where you would want to go. So it's not just about the dollars; it's about the situation and room for upper mobility.
Yeah, absolutely. And then two other things here from the baseball side. So no shocker here, but the dude himself getting named a first-team freshman All-American by D1 Baseball. Again, I mean, dude was just phenomenal this year. Again, below a 2.8 ERA, had, I believe, 6 saves on the year. He had a 99 mile an hour fastball. I mean, dude was just ridiculous as a freshman. Like it's
only
so
going to
exciting.
get bigger and stronger, which is
he's only going to get bigger and
think
stronger.
about.
Yeah, no, he's only getting bigger and stronger, and so I mean, super excited about what he's going to do in his state uniform. I mean, can he compete with the all-time greats of the Carlos Rodons? I mean, it's well within the possibility.
Yeah, some of it will be depending on the role they carve out for him. You have an instance where you could see Matt Willitson come back, and if Fritton comes back, you don't have as many opening starting rotation positions. Sure. So you would then have essentially 3 guys going for one position for a weekend starter. Now you could see a scenario where maybe a Ryan Marone or Cooper Consiglio go to your weekday starters, which, my gosh, if that's the case, watch out. Like, that would just be an insane situation. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out post draft and post. So you can no longer submit your name for the transfer portal, but we can still bring guys in. So it'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out.
Yeah, cool deal. And the other big thing as well, which Trey Turner again announced, so 2024 MLB All-Star Game representing the Phillies in the National League. I mean, so we were talking about all-time greats, and here's one of them for State Baseball, Trey Turner, who has had nothing short of a borderline Hall of Fame already in MLB career.
Is he the greatest MLB player we've ever had?
He's in the conversation.
I think he might be.
Yeah, I think he's better than Carlos Rodon just because of Rodon's injury history.
Right.
And Turner has a World Series ring, so.
Yeah,
I think he might be the greatest baseball player.
Yeah, Dan Plesac had a really good major league career. He's not had the accolades, but he had a very long, productive career.
Well, also too, I mean, like the fact that Trey Turner right now is in the conversation as being the greatest shortstop in baseball right now. I mean, you know, that's a pretty big.
And he's played on 3 different teams, and he's been like one of the best players on every single one of those teams. Right? He's been in the Nationals, the Phillies. Well, we don't count the Padres, but he was on the Nationals, the Phillies, and the Dodgers, right? And he was one of the best players on all 3 of those.
Yeah.
So
he's got 2 World Series rings, or just the one? Did he win one with the Dodgers? I'm trying to remember if he won with the Dodgers.
I don't think he
think he did.
No,
he did either. Yeah,
because we would have seen another case of the NCAA football helmet.
That's true. That's true. I'm glad that's associated with the Nats and not the Dodgers. So
that's right. I love it. And
I'm glad it's not associated with the Braves since Kins isn't here. So
that's right. No, yeah, we unfortunately lost Kins, y'all. But and the last thing, Macon, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on this, but I mean, you know, this really just love it. I mean, I'm telling y'all right now, like if there's a team that I would say I feel the most confident to win a national title next year, I think in-state women's basketball is going to do it, y'all. I'm so excited. Like this team is going to be insanely stacked, y'all. And just to kind of put the background for those listening, so Tilda Trigger, am I saying
Trigger? I think it's Trigger. I think it's
Trigger.
If I'm not mistaken.
I think it's Trigger too.
It sounds cooler, so we're going to call her that. So
I mean, yeah, got a nice trigger.
Until you learn about how to Tilda Trigger.
Yep. Swedish women's basketball. TT. That's right.
You can have that Tay for Taylor Swift. We got TT. Sorry, I'm gonna go mute my mic now. Sorry.
You go over there, Greg. No, but Swedish women's basketball player, NC State women's basketball commit, Tilda Trigger, had an amazing performance with 19 points, 16 rebounds, and 3 assists. And I think because, you know, when you look at NC State in terms of what was the biggest need that they had last year, I really do think it was the 5 position in terms of just having that elite ceiling. Now, again, River Baldwin, Mimi Collins, no doubt about it. They were, I mean, all ACC caliber. They were sufficient, no doubt about it. But when you face the caliber like the UConn, like the specifically the South Carolina and what they had, that was really the biggest moving point. And I think that with Tilda Trigger combined with the transfer that we had as well, the transfer class that we had as well, now we have the players to compete at that elite level, in my opinion. So, making thoughts there? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like to me, she's a different type of center for State. She's very athletic, and she's longer, right? She's longer and more athletic. Now, this is a 1-game thing, but this is in a against an international, right? So that's, but a double like that is saying a lot. I mean, I don't know how many girls are going to be able to match her size. It's like giving State their own version of the girl from South Carolina in a little bit of a lesser way, I would say, but still, she has. How tall was River Baldwin? Do y'all know?
6'5".
She's 6'5". Okay, she's close.
She's an inch taller.
I think Tilda's is a more athletic center for State. I think she probably can stretch the floor better, which is going to help out State.
Yeah, she in those 19 points, she had 5 3-pointers. So that's
she's going to be stretching the floor. Yeah,
a
stretch 5 in women's basketball. That's going to be
that's
going to be tough.
I kind of, and I made the joke on our Discord. I said second coming of Elisa Cunane ? Because Cunane had to develop her outside shot. I know. But Cunane had to develop that outside shot, whereas Trigger's already got that. I think where you're going to have to see Trigger get better is on the interior, which is insane to say based off of her stats. Yeah. But
add some bulk, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it should be like what's her first name? Tilda. Should be like Tilda Twig. I mean, like she needs to put on a little muscle there. But I think this girl's going to be dangerous. Like
she is high upside.
And Wes Moore's offense where he likes the pick and pop or the inside out, the 1-4.
Yeah, it's gonna be dangerous.
But again, we got to taper expectations. She's a true freshman coming into arguably the toughest league in all of college basketball.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. So, but yeah, make it. Would you say that my statement of feeling super confident about NC State women's basketball winning national title this year is? Would you say that's a hot take, or would you say it's not really much of a hot take?
I don't think it's necessarily a hot take. I think winning the whole thing right now, saying it, I think is a little bit of a hot take. But
sure,
you bring back Isaiah James, Anae Rivers. You're bringing back a few other guys. You got
the guards pieces.
Right, you got depth pieces, great. What you can say, like you don't have Maddie Cox coming back who will be able to help out too if Tilda's not the answer. I'm saying you do. I'm saying,
okay,
I'm saying you do. And then you've got Madison Hayes coming back, and those
when you
kind
got
of things.
Collier and you got Lacey Steele, all like you said,
Right.
Cox in their
Now
second
those
year,
players, those are the ones that need to step up to me. They're the ones we're gonna have to step up now. But at the same time, I could look at it as we cannot have the same Sanaya Rivers we had last year. It has to be an upgraded Sanaya. And
take a step.
Right? I mean, but it has to me, I mentioned what she has to have that killer instinct. When she says on the floor, I am the best player in the court right now, and I'm gonna show everybody, show the world that I am every game, and you guys can figure it out as we go along. That's the way she needs to be, her mindset, killer instinct.
Yep.
If she's like that, she's gonna be dominant. Now she just needs to be also, I think, she needs to be more consistent. So maybe I don't know if it's a in here thing or if it is just a technique, getting a little bit of some little tweaks, that kind of thing. But her shot selection maybe at times is a little bit of it too. So
and North Wolf mentioned Zoe Brooks. We talked about it, I think, at some point, you and me, late maybe in the ear wrap. If Zoe Brooks can develop at a 3-point shot, yeah, it's a thing. And then is it Zamara Jones? Is that her name?
Zamaria.
Yeah, she could be the next Zoe Brooks. So the guard play is there. Now we just need to figure out, because you lost Mimi Collins, right, which was a big piece. River Baldwin. So can those interior players that we just mentioned that are rising sophomores, can they take that next step to backfill those positions? Plus, we brought the girl in from Boston, and the name is lost on me right now.
I can't remember her name either. That's
terrible. It'll come on to me. But once I start getting, we're not even in football mode yet, and we're talking basketball. But it's a lot to be excited about. Yeah,
I just think who's the leader? Who's the leader at the forward center position right now? Because it feels like
right.
That's one thing I have.
But can you put that on a transfer though?
Yeah,
I think that's why you brought her in.
I think you're gonna have to. Sure. Like it's like you brought her in for the experience. You are the leader, and
Caitlin Weimer.
There you go.
Weimer.
Thank you,
Weimer.
Okay, that in memory.
I think the leadership of the person that came to mind honestly was Madison Hayes, and I think
I think she's the ultimate leader. To your point.
Yeah, but it needs to be Sanaya too. It needs to be her and Azai. They need to kind of carry that load together. Madison Hayes is that person, but I just think like who's a wild card? And I said if you get Maddie Cox, if you get other girls, like I can't remember blanking.
I think Zoe Brooks the wild card again. If she takes her game to another level. I mean, you saw flashes of it last year where she took over games at times. I mean, she from being a lockdown defender plus again, if she can just develop some kind of shot, I don't even need a 3-pointer. I just need a reliable jumper.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And I can't. When you say that, I'm like, man, that's a good pick. But I just come back to, man, if you have a consistent killer attack mode, Sanaya, every game, you're going to win most games. Just because, and I say shot selection. Honestly, she should live around the paint. She should. She doesn't. She needs to have an honest jump shot. She needs to make sure she got a 3. But she is so athletic. Her little shot chart needs to have a lot of those little bubbles right around the rim, in my opinion. So,
she needs to be about 8 to 12 foot out, right? I don't need her taking threes. I don't.
Darion Sebron is what Sanaya is. Now she can be like get an outside shot, and Darion developed that. But that's kind of the player I think of. I think Sanaya, when she's on the court, I can be the best player on any given night. She's been there for now 2-3 years now. So
third year.
She's the leader. There's no reason she cannot be the leader with Madison Hayes. That's what I think about.
Yeah. The last thought for me for this team is they have to just improve their 3-point shooting. The way the women's game is played, they're gonna have to get up around 37 to 38% as a team. And I think they were probably hovering around low 30s. If I had to guess, probably 32, 33%.
Yeah.
So just that consistency from the outside. And but you have Zoe and you have Sanaya where they can just drive and penetrate and dish.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tough team.
That's just where I come back to Sanaya has to take that next step. Would you rather Zoe or Sanaya take the next? If you only one of them was taking the next level, who would it be? I think that's probably the more interesting question.
At this point in their careers, I think it's Sanaya, where you still have Zoe as a sophomore.
That's what I come back to.
Well, and because I think that if you still have Zoe, what you had last year, combined with Samaria, combined with Isaiah, Isaiah is your starter, Sanaya is also your starter. And I mean, again, just Sanaya. Again, from a talent wise, we all agree. I mean, she can be easily a top 10 women's basketball player of the country, no doubt about it.
She's projected top 10 WNBA pick for next year, and then
after that performance last year, she wasn't bad. But it's like she could be a top 5 if she wanted to, right? Like she could be. And but I come back to you, Greg. I think the other point you had is, and I was getting by, but Zoe, like, think about what Michael O'Connell did for State when he started developing that outside shot. Really open it up.
People have to respect you. Now you can blow by them, right? If they respect the 3, you can pump fake them and then drive and dish or do whatever you want to do. I mean, it opens up so many possibilities for you.
That's right. So with that being said, we're gonna take a pause there, y'all. Again, we could definitely talk all things. Again, it just goes to show that again, like what a better. There's never been a better time to be an NC State fan, y'all. We can talk women's basketball for days. We can talk men's basketball for days. We can talk football. We can talk women's tennis. We can talk soccer. We can talk everything, y'all. Like, it is a phenomenal time. So enjoy it. And again, y'all, we got some super exciting content coming out here between now and the end of August. So again, y'all, make sure if you haven't already, do us a big favor. Hit that subscribe button, y'all. Hit that notification bell. Let us know down in the comments, y'all. What sport are you most excited about this upcoming season, 2024, 2025? What sport are you most excited about? Leave that note down in the comments, y'all. And again, if you're listening to this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, whatever it may be, please do us a big favor. Leave us a 5-star review. Greatly appreciate that as well. And again, y'all, make sure to give us a follow as well. Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. But we appreciate all the comments. We appreciate the conversation. We hope you all have fun. As again, we had a lot of fun too, and we're super excited about what's to come. We'll see y'all soon. As always, go Pack, y'all.